Good evening to our global audience and many thanks for allowing me to be your skipper on the Primetime News Ship for the next 20 or so minutes as we navigate current affairs waters. I'm Michael Madimba. Making headlines in tonight's bulletin. Deputy Prime Minister Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah says the Namibian government is still awaiting the British government's response on whether or not Namibians will require visas to travel to the UK. This after Bernardo Swartboy, leader of the Landless People's Movement, inquired in Parliament on the progress on the decision to require Namibians to possess visas in order to enter the United Kingdom. Nandi-Ndaitwah, in a parliamentary response on Wednesday, informed the House that she met with Charles Moore, the British High Commissioner to Namibia, on 28 February this year, and he informed her that the British Home Office reviews its visa regime every 6 months. She further stated that neither the British High Commission in Namibia nor the Namibian High Commission in London officially informed the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation whether the bill had been passed in the British Parliament. Moving on. Home Affairs, Immigration, Safety and Security Minister Albert Kawana has reiterated the importance of having conducive environments for police officers to execute all necessary police functions. Isabel Bento brings us this report.
The minister made these remarks at the inauguration of the new Tutaleni police station in Walvis Bay on Wednesday, where he noted that this can only be achieved with the availability of modern infrastructure, proper equipment and relevant knowledge and skills. The minister called out corrupt officers, urging the Inspector General of the Namibian Police Force, NAMPOL, and its entire management to ensure that such dishonest members are relieved of their duties to make way for loyal and patriotic Namibians who will replace them in conformity with the relevant laws. Meanwhile, NAMPOL Inspector General Lieutenant General Joseph Shikongo at the same event expressed his disappointment at the discriminatory treatment of citizens due to their tribal or racial backgrounds by some police officers. Shikongo urged all police officers to desist from all forms of discrimination based particularly on someone's tribal or racial background. Reporting for Primetime News, Diana Kauta.
On to matters pertaining to development and the domestic economy. National Planning Commission Chief National Development Advisor Sylvester Mbangu says Namibia did not make strides in changing the structure of its economy, which consists of a large informal sector, resulting in the majority of the population in a vulnerable state. Linia Tishena brings us the gist of the story.
This is our Namibian economy or economic growth. The same pattern prevails. We know that since 2015, really we have experienced some turmoil in our economy. First of all, there was the collapse of investment, the collapse of commodity prices, on which we really depend, because our economy depends on extractives. And since then, the economic growth has been going down, but really it was knocked down in 2020 because of the COVID. As I've said, we have recovered in 2021, even including for Namibia, including 2022, where we have grown by 4.6. But the projection also, they are showing that the growth really will be limited. And if we go to the non-change policy scenario, really our economy will be around 2 to 3% throughout to 2030, and that is if we are not going to do anything. And therefore, NDP6 acquires that very, very important role, that it should not be business as usual. If we are going to do the same thing, then we are going to get the same results. Therefore, as people say, we have to think outside the box. And others, they even take it further. They say we should think that there is no box.
On to a rather unfortunate incident of infanticide, which some of our viewers may find disturbing. A 33-year-old woman in the Karas region allegedly gave birth and then strangled the newborn baby to death on Wednesday. The incident happened in the Lordsville residential area of Karasburg. Chief Inspector of the Namibian Police, Elifas Kuinga, revealed the suspect gave birth on her own at home at 9 months pregnant and then hid the lifeless body in a luggage bag and placed clothes atop it to cover it up. The Chief Inspector added the suspect's housemate alerted Nampo after becoming suspicious when they no longer saw pregnant signs on her. Upon investigation, Nampo found the lifeless body of the infant hidden in the luggage bag. Police investigations into the matter continue. Stay tuned for the business segment. Welcome to the Primetime Biz Slot, the segment unpacking all things business and economics. The agro sector leads the bulletin. Minister of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform, Kailash Ladwine, has tabled the amended Livestock and Livestock Products Bill, which aims for the inclusion of dairy and poultry-related products in the Meat Industry Act. Linia Dishena brings us more insights.
Tabling the amendments to the Meat Industry Act of 1981 in a parliament on Wednesday, Schlettwein said the explicit inclusion of dairy and poultry products in the Meat Industry Act would allow Namibia to develop its dairy and poultry industries through a pro-growth regulatory framework in line with the Namibian agriculture policy and growth at home strategy. He explained that the act has been amended to also change the name of the Meat Board of Namibia to the proposed name Livestock and Livestock Products Board of Namibia in resonance with the expanded mandate. Schlettwein said Namibia is a net importer of food in general and poultry, dairy and pork in particular, which are a part of basic diet of households across all incomes, stressing that the growth of these sectors in terms of production volume is critical for reducing import reliance, food self-sufficiency and food security. He further indicated that available data indicates that Namibian consumption is able to support the poultry, dairy and pork industries if these industries can be assisted to grow on the premise that consumer prices are equal to those in Southern African Customs Union and not to the detriment of consumers. Reporting for Primetime News, Ishmael Mukuvonda.
Moving on. The SADC Financial Inclusion Subcommittee reviewed the progress on the implementation of financial inclusion initiatives in the region, including the development of the new 5-year SADC strategy on financial inclusion and small to medium enterprises' access to finance. The review took place at its regular meeting held in Johannesburg, South Africa recently.
Senior officials from the Ministries of Finance and central banks of the 14 SADC member states participated in the meeting, which prepared a report that will be presented to the Ministers of Finance and Investment in July 2023. It is also discussed how to put the recommendations and decisions of the subcommittee and the Ministers of Finance and Investment into practice. The draft Financial Inclusion and Small Business Access to Finance Strategy envisions an innovative, inclusive and stable SADC financial system that gives people and companies the ability to access and employ local and foreign money and to contribute to industrialization, inclusion, growth and resilient and sustained economic well-being. The vision supports the broader SADC Vision 2050, which calls for a middle to high-income industrialized region that is peaceful, inclusive and competitive, where all residents can enjoy lasting economic prosperity, justice and freedom. The support to improving the business environment in SADC region of the European Union provided funding for the gathering. In addition to helping member states create more welcoming investment environments and enhance economic integration, support to improving the business environments aims to assist SADC in its efforts to diversify its economy and create jobs. Reporting for Primetime News, Chakonia Nehemia.
This brings us to the end of tonight's top segment. We now turn our attention to the weather forecast to gauge the weather conditions within the country throughout the weekend. Sport Planet brings you the latest sports updates from within and beyond Namibia. The action from the Special Olympic World Games in Berlin, Germany continues to dominate the segment, with our sports journalist Hesron Kapanga reporting that the Namibian 3x3 basketball team registered mixed results in its unified men's games. Now, the Namibian team had an impressive performance in its division in games since Monday, but started its playoff for silverware with an upset against Korea. Team Namibia had an impressive start in the middle rankings game, but as the game progressed, they found it hard to contain the Koreans, who were outscoring them at any given opportunity. After 5 minutes of action at the Neptune Brunnen Center, the Korean team collected maximum points with a 16-11 win. Despite going down in the opening match of the day, the Namibian team dusted themselves off in the second match to outclass Uruguay 9-5 after 5 minutes of action. On to football. Senior national football team coach Colin Benjamin says the Burundi game is done and dusted, and the focus now should be building a team and exposing younger players to more international competitions. On Tuesday, Namibia lost 2-3 against Burundi in its last African Nations Cup qualifiers in Tanzania. With that defeat, the senior national men's team will now have to wait for the match between Burundi and Cameroon in September to see if they will be competing at the Nations Cup finals in Ivory Coast. In an interview with Sport Planet on Wednesday, Benjamin said conceding 2 early goals on Tuesday derailed them from the official plan, but nothing can be done about it now. The Brave Warriors gaffer added, "The match was lost, but the battle is not yet over. We will wait for the two teams to play each other." Your sports roundup is up next. This is where the Primetime News Sheep talks for the night. Many thanks for having tuned in during the course of the week. A reminder that if you're new to this channel, feel free to follow the prompts on the screen to subscribe for daily current affairs updates. Also hit the like button and recommend the channel to family and friends. Your feedback is always appreciated. Catch us again as from Monday next week as we update you with happenings within and beyond our borders. From myself, Michael Madimba, and the entire creative team behind the scenes, wishing you a restful weekend. Good night.